This is our bus Valkyrie. It is a 2012 Ford E-350 Econoline Super Duty, built by Turtletop as a 12-passenger shuttle bus. Now this vehicle was built by Ford in a Ford factory, but it was built as what is known as an incomplete vehicle. It was built all the way up to the back of the cab, and the frame was left open and then shipped off to a third party, in this case Turtletop, to be completed. Where Turtletop put on the fiberglass shell in the back, the windows, the flooring, the air conditioning, the heating systems, all of the seats, the wheelchair lifts, everything you would expect to see for a shuttle bus. Walk around onto the driver's side. You're able to see what that looks like. 5 windows on the driver's side. Interesting thing on the lower part, right behind the driver's door, is what I would call NACA ducts or NACA scoops. This is for the condenser of the air conditioning that's in the very back of the vehicle. It's very convenient if the air conditioning is being replaced to place the condenser and the compressor right behind those scoops for added airflow. This is a gasoline-powered vehicle. It does have dual wheels on the back, so 2 on each side in the rear. As we come around here, you'll see that we have lighting, marker lamps, reverse lights. These are kind of the standard 4-inch LED bulbs, although not all of them LED. We'll have to replace them. Come around, you see the double doors for the wheelchair lift, 2 additional windows, and the double doors for the entrance. As we come around, we'll go ahead and unlock the doors, hop into the cab, let you take a look at what that looks like. But frankly, this is it's a van. So it has everything you would expect to see in a van. Advantage here is it does have 2 seats. These are not as common as you would expect because the doors are usually where that passenger seat is. But I was looking for 2 seats. The rest of the cab looks pretty normal. You see cup holders, you see all the controls for the radio, air conditioning, heating, vents, and then of course the dashboard. Very common look for the Ford Econoline type vehicle. Now the bus does have overhead controls for the bus functions for the back. Interlocks for the wheelchair lift, the door controls, the air conditioning controls, fan speed, temperature, etc. And so these will be keeping to a degree, mainly the door open and close and the interlock or the locking mechanism for the double doors in the back. But this is how the doors open. You just simply push the button and they open whether the engine is running or not. Now let's head up on into the back of the bus. You can see the bus seats sitting here 2 by 2 by 2, then singles in the back. On the floor there are some lockdowns for wheelchairs. Those seats can be tipped up against the wall so you can lock down the wheelchairs. And then there's the wheelchair lift here in the back. The wheelchair lift does have a battery under the floor against the frame to help power this, and they're tied to the other battery up front. As you can see here, there's the hydraulics for it. There's a manual hydraulic pump in it as well as electric. Now this is the overhead panel. Sits over the top of the cab. It's not super deep, but it contains cabinets, as you see one here. And then the center, that one is fixed. And they're not too deep, so if you look down in there you can see they're not super deep, but the angle is pretty steep there. The right hand side here is where all the electronics are, where Turtletop added the components necessary to operate all of the systems in the back, the wheelchair lift, the lights, the door, those kinds of things. Hopefully we'll move those panels a little bit, all those circuit boards up a little bit out of the way, because this area here where the fixed cabinet is, where the bigger thing is here, and this cabinet to the right is where we're going to put the mini split air conditioning evaporator. Now let's head on back and take a look at the lift gate doors. They're double doors, and you see there's a locking mechanism on the latch here. I don't have the key to this, but it really doesn't matter. There is a lock switch on the control panel up by the driver's side. So by pressing that button, it does unlock the doors and gives us access into this area. You see the doors are pretty hefty, very thick doors covered in panels. There's a latch on the inside to open it, and then a latch on the other side from the inside that you can open. The doors are matching doors. Both are covered in panels. They both have long windows in them where the glass is good. They're fixed windows, and each of the panels can be removed if I choose to insulate it, which I probably will do. We want to make sure that the doors are as insulated as possible, and it looks like there's plenty of room for it. Now with the lift gate gone, we'll have some options here. Now the bed is probably going to be 3 feet off the floor, and this is going to give us the opportunity to have some storage underneath the bed, a little bit below this area here. What we're going to be able to do with this, put a wall to the front, right in this area here. And inside this storage area, we're going to have the freshwater tank, probably from here upward. It's a relatively long tank. We're looking at about 65 gallons, but we need it close to the tires where the axle is to at least carry the weight of the water. The far side of that tank is where the batteries are going to be located, as well as all of the electrical components from the solar system, from the external shore power, as well as the charger coming from the battery system of the vehicle itself to charge the house batteries. Now, in order to carry the weight of all the components that will be added to the system, I'm looking at changing out these leaf springs in the back, as well as put some new shocks on there. Now, these are going to be pretty beefy leaf springs. And so essentially what that's going to do is it's going to give it a lift in the back. And what I'm looking at is probably around 5.5 inch lift. We'll be doing something very similar up front. In this case, we'll be changing out the I-beams up under the system, and you can see those I-beams right there. As well as we'll be changing out the coil springs and the shock absorbers for the front also. Again, we're looking at about a 5.5 inch lift, and that should carry all of the weight that's put within the system.